Well,
there are epic deal videos, and then there are epic deal videos.
And then there is
epic deals
videos.
This is like the triple epic video, because there are so many epic deals to tell you about that we thought we'd just combine them into one.
A menage a trois of deals.
Oh, I never thought of it like that.
What is better than 2 deals? That's 3 deals.
So
the thing everybody wants.
I'm going to start with the easiest bit of the deal, and the bit that, to be totally honest with you, should appeal to absolutely every single person watching this, whether you're a guitar player or a bass player or any kind of a player. Because look what I can do.
Or a player.
Can you do this? See? Now, if you've already got a wireless system, you can do that. But if you haven't, you can't. And it's wonderfly liberating.
There you go, and he's back
sorry.
in the room. No, that's fine. It's fine. He could probably hear you anyway. So we have the lapel's not wireless yet, but I'm thinking that might happen in the near future.
We should go wireless on lapel.
We should, shouldn't we? And then not go to the toilet, because that would probably be a little bit embarrassing.
Yeah, that would be embarrassing, wouldn't it? Line 6 make a fantastic range of wireless systems. Probably, I think for Andertons, probably our best-selling wireless systems of all. You've got things like G10 and G30, which are sort of affordable, a bit more plasticky, haven't quite got the range, but a great kind of introduction into wireless. And then you've got G70 and G75, which are like the sort of the more pro end.
Absolutely.
And
they're really cool. You know, you can have just to talk about these really quick. The fact, what I really like about these what do you call them? Receivers or
transmitters?
Transmitters.
Transvestites.
Is actually that, let's say this has been a problem that I've had when I've used other brands, that sometimes these cables die.
Yeah.
Right. So let me just put this on standby. That's so I can show you. So what happens is sometimes you've got other wireless systems and they've got these really silly little pins and all that stuff, and it breaks. And if that breaks on one of these, all you need is a short jack cable, and Bob's your uncle. And then that's all that's all you need. You need a short jack cable. So if you're somewhere and it breaks, that's it. And plus, how you seen? It says on here 7 hours and 25 minutes.
Oh, that tells you. So look,
anyway,
I'll give you the quick rundown of
G70
cool. and G75 and what the deal is. So about 2 weeks ago, if you'd have wanted to buy a G70 or a G75, you'd have spent the thick end of £400 buying one. Oh. Now they are both $239. $239. So that's just to give you an idea, that's probably about £50 or £60, maybe £60, £70 dearer than pretty much the entry-level wireless system that Line 6 makes. So you'd be crazy not to save up the extra and spend the difference. So G70, you're going to need to look at the floor to see what I've got. So G70 is the pedal version of the wireless, of the wireless system, and G75 is the desktop or amp top or whatever you
probably put it on top of your amp or in your rack.
Yeah.
If you've got such a thing. They both have the same features, haven't they? So they've got two outs and a tuner out, and
you got so
there's multiple stuff.
Multiple outs. There are actually 4 outputs, but there are 3 outputs that you can switch between. So this is where it gets a bit pro. You could conceivably have 3 guitars with their own individual belt pack transmitters.
Yep. They come with little color rings as well around here.
Each set to different colors.
It's different colors on the little ring around the knob.
And then you could toggle through your different colors. So you'd have all your amps, potentially different amps plugged into your receiver.
Yep.
And you would just basically go, right, I'm changing from my electric guitar to my acoustic guitar. I know my acoustic guitar is blue, press blue, boom. That comes out the balanced output on the back into your PA. Lovely. Nice and easy. Simple. When you buy these as a set on day one, you get 1 receiver and 1 transmitter and the cable that you need. It has a built-in tuner, which is very, very cool. If I hold this down, and again, you probably can't see.
We'll do a little close-up for you in a Newtons.
It mutes the guitar and enters a cool tuner, which is dead easy to see.
So that takes up a space for, if you've got a boss tuner down there, you could potentially take that off and stick that on. Yeah. It's a little bit bigger, but...
I was going to say, or if you have a dedicated tuner and you prefer it, again, there is an output from the wireless, again, that can plug into the tuner, so again, it can be on all the time. Ground lift, all that good stuff. There you go, that's $229.
And it runs on a normal 9-volt power supply off your pedal board.
Great shout.
That is awesome
know.
as well.
Oh no, and it tells me on here again, my display tells me that I've got 5 hours and 15 minutes worth of battery life left in my belt pack.
It's the same display as this one. So all the knobs on the top of the 75 is the same as they are on here. The outputs on the back are the same. Sorry, I had a little bit of a short cable.
So how you would just
situation.
and you need okay, so there is an optional remote switch.
Yeah. For this,
so if you want to be able to switch the outputs from a foot, or you can just do it presumably.
Or you can have it in if you have a rack system with some stuff in it with TSR cable. I can imagine something like that, you know.
Yeah.
But I think the clever thing is that you can literally have 3 guitars plugged into one of these. And another cool feature is when you open this guy up, it's very sturdy. This is all metal. It's not like
that's the big difference between this and the cheaper ones.
So anyway, you can use rechargeable batteries or normal batteries in here.
Perfectamundo.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so easy to change, and it's very sturdy and I love it. It's great.
If you have read about different types of wireless systems in the past and you're worried about interference and stuff like that, Line 6 wireless systems are digital.
Digital.
So they are not broadcasting over UHF or VHF or any of the sort of old analog frequencies
AM.
that can interfere. That can get interference. These are basically about as reliable as you can possibly get.
It's a Wi-Fi signal, isn't it, really?
I don't know.
It's kind of a Wi-Fi signal. I think it's like some kind of gigahertz, isn't it? I remember...
It's like right up here, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very high. And the problem is when you're traveling around Europe as well, is that if you have the RF or whatever it is, you have to have a license for it.
Yes, so it's
you have to pay a
license-free.
license fee. It costs a fortune.
Works in any country.
Yeah.
And I guess that the thing with digital wireless systems of old was people potentially complained a little bit about latency. In other words, the delay between when I hit the string and when it can process it and come out here. And I can confirm, I don't know if you can probably close up zoom. There is zero. There is no latency difference between playing with this system or with a cable.
And there is the cool feature in here that if you can literally decide the length of your cable. So if you're the guy that likes the sound of a longer cable, you can make it longer. I don't know how many feet it is, but you can make it really, really short.
My guess is that using this system or this one, I guess, is not dissimilar to having a buffer in your system. And if you want to know more about buffers and switching and stuff like that, go watch the Lela video that I did the other day with Yoki from Lela, where he explains it better than I can. Anyway, look, so that's epic deal number 1, is a Line 6 Relay G70, G75 system reduced from nearly £400 down to £239 while stocks last.
Links
it's time for another jam.
Yeah.
Links below, absolutely. This jam is called Links Below. Buy it now.
string jam.
I love it. That's what Pete told me. Little practice technique there. Pete said practice playing all your pentatonic licks and everything, but only using one string. It's quite difficult.
It is quite difficult. That was just, again, pentatonic, minor, major, same thing over the chords. So next deal.
Epic deal, duh. Duh. We're using the French in celebration of, what's his name? Emmanuel Macron.
Vive la France!
Vive la France!
Yes, well done, France.
Well done, France. Well, at least well done if you voted for him. Commiserations if you didn't. It's a free world.
Yeah, that's, you know, it is what it is.
So, the second deal is the Blackstar HT Club 40 Deluxe.
Deluxe, man. Everything is like deluxe and
everything's deluxe.
40, and you know, we love it, but it's great.
So the regular HT Club 40 is probably, if not the best-selling kind of mid-price little amp that Blackstar make.
It's good.
It's certainly one of them.
Yeah.
And last year they did a little run where they thought, oh, let's give it a sort of maybe a little bit more of an American vibe. Maybe we can just appeal to a few more kind of Fender customers as opposed to perhaps their normal stomping ground, which might be appealing maybe more to Marshall customers. Let's see what we can do.
I see.
So they cosmetically tweaked it a bit just to give it a slightly more, like a softer, maybe more American kind of vibe. But the main thing is they changed the speaker to a Celestion A-type, where A stands for America. So it's, yeah, the Celestion A-type. Now, originally this was priced similarly to the regular Club 40. It was about 30 or 40 pounds more expensive to get your sort of deluxe
to
tag.
get the, yeah.
I don't know, obviously, you know, wasn't as popular as they perhaps hoped it might be. I guess, you know, Fender are so dominant in that kind of sector. If
they
you,
are,
you know,
they?
if you want a Fender, you want a Fender, I get that.
Yeah.
So anyway, we cleared them out of these. I don't know how many we got, 50 maybe, something like that of these. These are $449 as opposed to, I think, $699, which is what they used to be. So
that was very similar price to Hot Rod Deluxe.
Absolutely. So 40 watt, all valve, 2 channels. So let's go through. You play because you're the sexy player. So here's a clean tone, and we've got a button that does voice, a control that does tone, and a control that does volume.
That's really nice. So that's the only, because I haven't really plugged into these before.
So the EQ that only works on the drive channel. You just get literally
all right,
volume and tone.
So a little bit like an AC30 kind of vibe.
I guess so. It's always, I think on a lot of Blackstar amplifiers, that's how it works. So digital reverb, digital. We can literally soak this in reverb if you want to.
Oh.
Clean sound works great with pedals if Pete just pops his light speed on.
Yeah. Rock and roll amp.
Drive channel, which essentially again has 2 voices. So voice 1 and voice 2, which I'll fiddle around with. The EQ now does work, including Blackstar's ISF feature, Infinite Shape
Function.
Feature
Function.
Which is a sort of it's like a multi-band tone control that basically takes it in one extreme setting to be more sort of scoopy American soundy, to the other setting more mid-rangey British sounding. I will demonstrate. Demonstration.
So is it a switcher?
So, a plethora of gain tones in there, from kind of nice bluesy tones through to high gain metal kind of tones.
And that was not very loud at all in the room.
No, we've kept it fairly quiet in here.
Loads of options.
So that's that. You've got stuff like emulated speaker outputs on the back if you want to do some recording or get some extra volume by plugging into your PA and you don't have a microphone.
Effects loops, all that jazz.
All that jazz. Comes with a little 2-button foot switch.
Yep.
So that you can do things like channel changing and reverb, I think. Look,
I've got Monday fingers today.
These are great. These are great. The regular HT Club 40 is a great amplifier. This has the deluxe version with the different speaker for a couple of £100 less is a steal.
It is, $449.
So let's jam on this for a bit, maybe with the gainier tones, and then we'll tell you about the last of the 3 epic deals, the menage a trois of epic deals. Oh, imagine that. As you may have noticed, we've swapped guitars as well.
Yeah.
Which does very nicely bring us through to
final
trois of
to menage a trois.
Yes, of our epic deal, which is some more PRS S2 stock and this one round here, which I hadn't realised we had any left of. This is SE custom stock. So this is the sort of the range that sits below S2. And some of you may know that last year PRS made a couple of really one unbelievably minor cosmetic change to the SE range, and that was to change the headstock motif, so it now has the same kind of PRS squiggle signature.
Looks much
better.
You
get on S2, whereas this is how it used to look. And secondly, on some of the models, albeit not this one, on some of the models they had the pickups upgraded. So the only difference between this SE245 soap bar guitar from 2016 and 2017 is the logo difference, except of course that these are on Epic Deal special offer for $449.
What?
I think there's something like 700 or 800 quid in the 2017 catalogue. So $449 with a gig bag.
That's like the amp.
Only whilst we've got ones with the old-fashioned logo on.
Is that almost the one like Chris Robinson is playing?
Apart from he's got
a,
like that.
He's got a humbucker
in the bridge.
bridge, isn't he?
S2 is the series that comes out of Maryland in the USA. So it's the
Maryland
American. It's the sort of the start of what an American PRS would cost you. And as you know, I'm just going to throw it out there. I think they kind of thought, hey, I've smoking some pot this morning and done some LSD. Let's make some guitars in some really weird colours, like Egyptian gold and forest green and Aztec jizz and everything like that. And unsurprisingly, they haven't been as popular as the beautiful colours like the bursts and all the translucent colours that they do.
No.
So eventually what happens is they turn to good old Andertons and go, oh, do you want to buy a load of cheap guitars?
and yes.
And we go, yes. So S2, this has been amazing. We have sold in the last 3 or 4 months well over 100 of these kind of...
We did do an Epic Deal last year as well on it, didn't we?
Weird and wonderful colours.
Which is...
So, yeah, and now there's I'll have to put a link in the description below for you to see all the guitars that are available in these weird colours, because it does cover, like, custom 22s, custom 24s.
Semi-hollows.
Yeah, single
cutaway,
cuts.
double cut birds, dots.
Predominantly in these there's 4 basic colours. I think there's this kind of colour. There's the slightly darker gold colour.
Champagne.
Like
this is champagne.
That's champagne, is it?
And that's
not Aztec.
Egyptian gold. I think that's champagne.
And then there are 2 shades
forest
of green, which...
Oh, they're the same one. Yeah, there's a forest green.
There's forest green and surf green, isn't there?
Frost.
I think.
Thrush.
What? Oh, frost.
Frost green.
I was going to say.
Frost blue or something? Or frost
no,
something?
it's the blues are all gone.
Oh, the blues are all gone.
But it'll basically, look, in fact, maybe even on screen now, some different colours will pop up. But hit the link below, because these guitars, which, typically S2 stock, you would, a gloss finished S2, you'd pay anything from probably 11 or 1200 up to maybe 14 or 1500 pounds, depending on the model. All of these discontinued colours are retailing for between like 750 and 1,000 pounds. So it's a monster guitar. Every time I play one of these, I just think, wow.
That money is great.
If I just shut my eyes, it's without doubt a heck of a lot of guitar for the money.
Got a feeling with that as well. If I just shut my eyes. What?
I mean, the coolest looking one. I mean, to be totally honest with you, it's one of those. If you're the kind, if you're in like a Hank Marvin tribute band, and you got to have the Fiesta Red Strat, or you're doing some, I don't know, Jimi Hendrix kind of thing, and the old vintage kind of traditional looking guitar is essential to the look. These probably aren't for you. But if you're in some sort of alternative kind of band, or just a band almost like an anti-fashion band, these might be exactly.
Or if you're just like me, like a bit of colour, splash colour in your life. It's got all the bits. It's got a freeway switch. It's got the split things, and it's got the stuff.
I'm pretty sure everything. All the guitars have got coil taps on them.
I think that one didn't. I noticed that one.
Well, that one won't, because it's a single coil pickup.
That's what it is.
You can't really.
When you split a single coil. So we split a single coil tonight.
I don't know if the custom. Yeah, that's the 22, isn't it? So
yeah,
that's got coil.
Is that the 22?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
They all come with really nice gig bags.
Yeah, gig bags. Here,
so look,
there's one.
This is the 3rd and final part of our epic deal for Monday morning.
Epic deals for Monday morning.
There's the jingle right there.
Epic deals for Monday morning. Epic deals for Monday morning.
There's the jingle right there. So just a quick recap then. Unbelievably cheap Line 6 wireless systems in either a pedal form or a desktop form.
Absolutely.
$239.
Yeah, they were for something.
About £400.
Wow.
Yeah. Blackstar HD Club 40 Deluxe with a capital D, $449 down from $699, I think.
Yeah.
And then, as I said, a plethora of these PRS guitars.
I like this one, but I like a 22.
I think that's
a good deal, mate.
That demands attention. $449 for that is pretty.
Somebody needs to buy those guitars quickly. But, and if you haven't got a guitar with soap bar pickups, you should get one.
Absolutely.
You should get one.
Why are they called soap bar?
Because if you because they got a little thing, I think, and you wash your hands, you look at it. When you go to your grandma's house, she always has to like a bar of soap with a couple of hairs on it. But that looks like, but there's always it looks like a bar of soap,
right?
Doesn't it?
I don't know what kind of soap you're using, but no, I don't know. Do you know
Imperial Leather?
I think I bought a bar of soap for.
But this is what I mean.
I just have hand wash. It's where.
How does it go?
So there you go.
Leather soap.
Imperial Leather on a string, soap on a string. Let's jam. Can I just say as well, we have got a couple of pedals on the floor here, which are nothing to do with the epic deal. But if you're wondering, can I use a wireless system with pedals? 100%. We are both plugged into our wireless receivers into pedals. Mine obviously is designed to kind of go on your pedal board. Pete's obviously running a cable from his to his pedals.
I would say this is probably for someone who's got a rack, or somebody's a bass player, for instance, that doesn't need any pedals. It just wants this on top of your bass amp.
Yeah. If you don't want pedals, 100%.
And it's going to get, because it's got, actually, it's funny.
Keyboards? You could run keyboards into this?
You could. But you know what?
What?
This has a little sensor built into it, accelerometer. So if you are standing too still, it was literally switch it off, which means it will make bass players dance.
Do you think?
And there's not many apart from the Bruno Mars bass player.
I think
he can dance. What's his name?
Although, do you know what's quite clever? So
Love him.
my receiver tells me if I've gone to sleep.
Does it?
Yeah. So in case, I must admit, I wasn't really listening whilst Pete was saying that bit there, so I don't know how well he's explained it. But yeah, so the accelerometer, basically, if you put your guitar on a stand, for example, and your transmitter doesn't move for like 5 minutes or something like that, it does go into standby mode.
Which saves the batteries.
But your receiver will flash to tell you you're in standby mode to remind you. But we did have a little joke, didn't we? That you know, most bass players, that this may not be suitable for bass players, as literally if that's how you stand for sort of, 5 minutes non-stop, your wireless system will just switch off. It won't. It will detect, even if you just do this, it'll detect that. Panic not.
And you have got your groove on.
Anyway, do it. We've been using the wonderful TC Ditto looper all through this demo.
I've been using a Lightspeed and a digital bus delay.
And I've been using a Plimsoll by Fulltone, and I don't even know if I've switched it on, but if I have, it was a Luxury Drive by Tim Jauernig.